Hi, third graders. Welcome to your TV classroom. Today is Tuesday, February 16th. We are halfway through February. Mr. Kevin, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it possible to get my slides on the TV behind you?
Oh, we can do that.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going. We're gonna check in with our zones while you get that set up. So friends, up behind Mr. Kevin is this big TV, and normally my slides are up there so I can look at the camera and see what we're learning all at the same time. Oh, there it is, perfect. That way I'm not looking down at my screen unless I'm writing.
Mr.
So
Kevin
friends,
forgot.
That's all right, Mr. Kevin, it happens. Friends, how are you today? What zone are you in? How are you feeling? Let's see, how am I feeling today? My brain is a little distracted, a little yellowy, but not like really distracted. And I'm feeling content, and I'm not too tired. I'm a little bit tired, but not too bad. So I'd say I'm in the green zone. What zone are you in, friends?
I think a lot of them are in the green zone.
I bet they are.
Yeah.
Now, friends, I'm going to give you a challenge. And I've been giving this challenge lately. I would like you to go ask someone else their zone. You can do it now, or you can do it after our lesson, because it's practicing that caring for others and making sure you're treating others the way they want to be treated. So make sure to do that sometime today. Let's get going with our True or False Tuesday. Here we go. There are 40 students going to after-school clubs. Each club can have 8 members. How many clubs will be needed for all the students to attend a club? They said there will need to be more than 4 clubs available for all the students to attend a club. Is this true or false? It is true. Now it's true because 80 or 40, 80. Not 80, friends, 8. 40 split into 8 groups of 8 is 5, right? Because 8 times 5 is 40. So they're going to need 5 or more, because what if you didn't like one of them, or it didn't say you had to have exactly 8 members. It's just that each club can have up to 8 members. So we need at least 5, which would be more than 4. Molly bought tickets to see a new movie that cost $6 each. How many tickets can she buy with $36? They said Molly will be able to purchase less than 10 tickets. Is this true or false? What do you think? Is their answer true or false? It's false. You might be going, why? Because 6 times 6 is 36. And 6 is less than 10. You're correct, 6 is less than 10. But they said less than 10 tickets. That means Molly could purchase 9 tickets, or 8 tickets, or 7 tickets. And with $36, Molly cannot purchase 9, 8, or 7 tickets. So it is false. Is this equation true or false? False. 3 times 2 is 6. Is this true or false? True. 20, 40, 60. 3 groups of 20 is 60. Is this true or false? Well, you might be going, I don't know, Mrs. Wally. Let's use our distributive property. What's 3 times 20? We already did that one. So we can put that here right now. Plus 3 times 6. 3 times 6 is 18. So that would be 78. Is this true or false? False. Today we are going to continue learning to solve problems about equal groups. Here we go. I know this is small, so I'm going to read it out loud to you. It's just the way they had it organized, and there wasn't much I could do. So really get those listening ears ready, and I'll try and write down some of the important information when we go through our 3 reads. So it's 3 read time, which means the first time we're just going to read to figure out what's happening. The second time we're going to read and be detectives for the question. And the third time we read, we're going to be looking for information we can use to answer the question. So Jenna has 30 photos of her friends. She put 6 photos on each page in her album. How many pages does Jenna use? Show your work. Okay. So what's happening here? We've got a person who's putting pictures on pages in an album, probably like a scrapbook or a memory album of something. Do any of you have those at home? I know I have some albums at home. You know, I haven't been very good at making albums. This makes me kind of think I might need to do some of those. Put that in the back of my head. So let's read it again and find the question. Jenna has 30 photos of her friends. She put 6 photos on each page in her album. How many pages does Jenna use? Show your work. What is our question in this problem? What are they asking us to find? Yeah, how many pages does Jenna use? That's what we're finding. Okay, now we're going to read and find the information we're going to use. Jenna has 30 photos of her friends. She put 6 photos on each page in her album. So what information are we going to use? What's the useful information? Yeah, she has 30 photos and 6 photos on each page. I'm going to give you 1 minute to draw a model or a picture that represents this problem. No equation. I just want either a model, like an array model, or a picture that represents this problem. I'm going to do it on my whiteboard. You're going to do it on your paper or whiteboard. Okay, friends. Mr. Kevin, can you show my whiteboard? So take a look what you did and take a look at what I did. Now, what I did is I just drew some boxes to represent pages, and I didn't know how many pages it was going to be, and I knew I was going to skip count by 6. So I did 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. That I'm out of pictures. So how many pages did she use? 5, right? We took 30. We split it into groups of 6. We found that we get a total of 5 groups. How do we write that as an equation? What could we write to represent what we did? We did not do 5 groups of 6 equals 30. That's what this shows right now, but what did I do in math as I was dividing up the 30? What did I do? I took 30 and I divided it into groups of 6. I split it into groups of 6. And I found that I could make a total of how many groups? 5. So what is the answer to our problem? I've done the math. Now I have to decide what my answer is. What's the answer to our problem? What was the question? How many pages does Jenna use? Jenna uses what? 5 pages. We took a total amount, we split it up into equal groups, and we figured out how many groups we could make that were equal. Now later on, we're going to talk about what do you do if you have some left over that don't make another equal group. that's coming. And I know some of you might have been like, yeah, but what if it was like 32 pictures? She couldn't put 6 on this page. So we're talking about what do we do in math when we have some leftovers? There are 9 drawing kits. Okay, erase your board. There are 9 drawing kits on a table in the art room. Each kit has 4 pencils. How many pencils are there in all? So what's happening in this story? No one should have anything in their hands right now. Make sure nothing in your hands. We're just talking. I want you to talk to me. What's happening? Yeah, there's an art room. And there's some drawing kits. And there's pencils in each kit. Okay, let's read again and find the question. There are 9 drawing kits on a table in the art room. Each kit has 4 pencils. How many pencils are there in all? Show your work. What's the question they're asking? How many pencils are there in all? Great. Let's read again and find the information we're going to use together. There are 9 drawing kits on a table in the art room. Each kit has 4 pencils. So what information can we use, third graders, to help figure out how many pencils there are in all? Right, 9 drawing kits is important. Does it matter that they're on the table? Is that important information we need to know? Does it matter that they're in the art room? Does that help us figure out how many pencils there are? No, it's information that gives us an idea of the situation and the story so we can make a picture in our head, but it's not the numbers we need in order to solve the problem. What other information is important? Not just 4 pencils, because that doesn't tell me much. 9 drawing kits, 4 pencils. Maybe I'm adding 9 and 4. I need more information about the 4 pencils. So what other information can I add? Yeah, that each kit has 4 pencils. All right. So what do we do for this one? What would you make as your model? Go ahead, make your model. I'm going to work on the screen here with a model and see if your model is similar to my model. So I've got 9 drawing kits. And I've got 4 pencils in each kit. Now, once you're done with your model, I want you to stop. Mr. Kevin, in just a second, can you bring up my whiteboard?
Yeah, just let me know.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Now, friends, what do you notice? I use the same kind of model. Okay. What was my answer with this one? We figured out 6 pages or 5 pages, right? We did 30 divided by 6 equals 5. Are we going to do that here? What numbers do we have to work with? 9 drawing kits, 4 pencils. So what do we do here to figure out how many pencils in all? Well, what do we have? What do you see? 9 groups of 4. See, here I started with 30. That's okay. Here I started with 30 and I started skip counting by 6 and putting them in to each one to figure out how many I had. Here I knew I had 9. I knew I had 4 in each one. So what do I need to figure out here? I need to figure out how much that makes all together. Do you see the difference? Pretty cool, huh? So what is 9 groups of 4? Well, what's 9 groups of 2? 18. What's 18 plus 18? 36. Much faster than skip counting by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. See how when I doubled, when I like split in half and then added together, how that call it half and doubling, how that helped me figure out the answer? Yeah, 36. So what's my answer? My answer is not 36. What's my answer? You think it's 36, but that's not the complete answer. What's the answer? 36 pencils in all. Because over on the other one, it was 5 pages. But we can use the same model, drawing equal groups, to figure out either how many in all, how many groups are there, or how many in each group. Just like when you add and subtract and you have those part-whole models, and you have this part and this part, and you make a whole. Sometimes you're missing the whole, sometimes you're missing one of the parts, sometimes you're missing the other part, and you can use the numbers you know to help you find the part you don't know. Am I trying to figure out how many in all, or am I trying to figure out how many groups, or am I trying to figure out how many in each group? If it's how many in all, I multiply. If it's how many in each group or how many groups, I divide. But I can use my multiplication to divide. If I know my multiplication facts, I can divide. It's the same as the whole in the 2 parts. It's so amazing. Okay, I would like you to try this one all on your own. I'm gonna read it. We're gonna do the 3 read. I'm gonna give you a minute to solve, and then I'm gonna show you the answer. Tom has 21 apples and 3 baskets. If Tom puts the same number of apples in each basket, how many apples will be in each basket? Show your work. What's happening? Put your pens down, 3rd graders. Yeah, you. Yeah, you didn't think I'd know, did you? Thank you for those who didn't have their pens up. We're just talking about what's happening. No answering questions right now. Tom has 21 apples and 3 baskets. What's happening? This person has apples in baskets. Okay, let's find the question. Can you imagine apples in baskets in your head? Tom has 21 apples and 3 baskets. If Tom puts the same number of apples in each basket, how many apples will be in each basket? What's the question? Yes, how many apples? Ooh, wrong color, Mrs. Wally.
Good color.
It is, but that's for our information. How many apples will be in each basket? Now let's read and find the important information, and I'm going to give you a little hint. Sometimes important information isn't a number. Just let that sit with you for a minute. Tom has 21 apples and 3 baskets. Any important information there? Yeah, 21 apples, 3 baskets. Now, if that's the only information I have, I don't know if I'm doing multiple add-ins or if I'm multiplying. Because I could have 3 baskets and have 5 in this basket and 10 in this basket and 6 in this basket, and that would answer the question. So we need to read more and find some more important information. If Tom puts the same number of apples in each basket, what's the important information there? Yeah, same number of apples in each basket. Now we know we're going to have equal groups. Go ahead and solve. Okay, Mr. Kevin, can you show my whiteboard? So my representation shows 3 baskets, and I don't know if you would hear my marker. What I was doing is going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because I was trying to figure out how many were gonna be in each basket. So I was sharing. I wasn't partitioning into six pictures on a page. I was sharing each apple equally into all the baskets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, until I got to 21. And I found that there are 7 apples in each basket. So what's my answer I'm gonna write here on our PowerPoint slide? Yeah, I'm not just going to write 7. So many students do this. They just go, done, solved it, move on to the next one. It's not correct. 7 what? Is it 7 apples or is it 7 baskets? 7 apples where? In each basket. We need the whole thing when it's a story problem. Answer in the full sentence so that we know what you're talking about. Now, excellent job today. Excellent job last week when you did this with me. Now you get to do the assignment, which is page 367 and 368. Practicing this idea of equal groups, or groups finding out how many in each group, or this idea of finding out the total and using multiplication and division to help you figure that out. So you're going to do those pages as your assignment to turn into your teacher or to send here at the TV classroom. Let's take a look at our learning check. Today we learned to solve problems about equal groups. We understood the situation. We created a model of the situation. We used equations to solve the problem. And we answered with an answer statement using the unit, just like we did with area models. We're doing now with multiplication and division. Excellent job. Mr. Kevin, if they want to send something to us here at the TV classroom, how can they do that?
Sure, students. How many apples are in your basket? That's a great question. You could send us the information, if you'd like, in email to tvclassroom@tacoma.k12.wa.us, or Mrs. Wally's favorite method of communication is you could send a letter.
I love getting mail.
Yeah. TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.
All right, third graders. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Next up, you'll have Miss Oslin. You'll need your learning buddy and your ELA packet and your pencil and all the things you have with Miss Oslin when you do your learning. Make sure to take a break, get a drink of water, get your eyes off the screen for a minute, and then come back and be ready to learn when she is back on the screen. Have a great day, friends, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.
Hello, everybody. My name is Chick Street Man, and I'm a musical ambassador for peace and human rights. And the Northwest Sinfonietta asked me to show you a little bit of what it is that I go through to warm up in the morning or before I go on stage later in the evening. So this is a little fun thing that we can do, because sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're feeling good, but things tend to happen. Maybe it's raining and maybe there's no food in the refrigerator, or maybe your mom or your brother or your sister or your teacher or a good friend says something to you that tends to want to bring you down, but you don't have to go down. You can keep yourself feeling up by saying a little something to yourself that goes like, I feel so good. Say, I feel so good. I feel so good. And then you get a little rhythm into it, okay? So you say, I feel so good. Well, I feel so good. I feel so good. I feel so good. When your mind is happy, so is your body. When your mind is happy, so is your body. I feel so good. I feel so good. And then once you're feeling good, then you want to share it with everybody else around you. But before we even do that, and you're going to share it with anybody else, it's important to warm your voice up a little bit. So I have a little technique that I use to warm my voice up that goes like this. You say, you just close your mouth, and one time you say, So I want to teach you how to do it. All you got to do is just close your mouth, and one time, very gently say, Right? When you say, you do it 2 times, you say, I guess that was 4 times, okay? But you put a little rhythm into it, and it goes like this. So that later on in the evening, when you're hungry and you're back home, and there's no food on the table, you can say, where the dinner, mama? Where the dinner, daddy? Just don't tell him I taught you how to do that, okay? So this is all about relaxing and enjoying, feeling yourself relax in your body. Thank you. You know, sometimes you may be feeling up and sometimes you may be feeling down. But I believe there's always going to be some love coming around. when you get that feeling, let me tell you what love can do. It'll swell up in your body, then slip on away from you. So when you feel the river rising, your soul capsizing, you got to let go. Rhythm high, rhythm low. Rhythm high, rhythm low. Believing you just can't keeping on. It's gonna make you a little bit wary, whether you're right or wrong. But like a vine inclined to keep on clanging and to keep on swinging, you got to let go. Rhythm high, rhythm low. Rhythm high, rhythm low. Rhythm high, high, high. Rhythm low. Rhythm high, rhythm low. And if the fire's got you burning, ain't no returning, you got to let go. Rhythm high, rhythm low. Rhythm high, rhythm low. Rhythm high, high, high. Rhythm low. Got to keep on moving. Rhythm high, rhythm low.
Hi, third graders. Welcome back from your break. Excellent job gathering your materials and being ready to go for our reading lesson today. Let's remind ourselves of our 3 personal standards. Put a finger up and say each one with me. Show respect, make good decisions, solve problems. Now, we have been reading all about fiction, and specifically we've been learning about traditional literature, which is a story that's passed down from one group to another through history. And today we're going to talk about folk tales. Folk tales are a form of traditional literature, and they are passed down orally, which means out loud, from one generation to the next, and they're specific to different cultural groups. And I just wanted to teach you that when we are talking about culture, your culture is the people with whom you share common habits, attitudes, beliefs, and expectations about how we behave with each other. So thinking about that today, that we are learning that folk tales are stories that come from all over the world and have been passed down through storytellers from various cultures. Again, that's people who share common habits, attitudes, beliefs, and expectations. And the folk tale that we are going to read is Anansi the Spider, and it's been retold over many, many, many years, and the version that we are going to read today was adapted or retold by Gerald McDermott, and it was for our reading enjoyment. Now, let's read a little bit about traditional stories, folk tales, and the Ashanti people of West Africa before we read the actual folk tale, Anansi the Spider. And at the very beginning, we get a map that shows us the continent of Africa. And specifically, this version of Anansi the Spider comes from Ghana, which is a country in West Africa. And it's there, you can see it, the white portion on the map. And our author includes a prologue. Say prologue. Prologue is in a book that gives you a little bit of background information or historical information about what we're about to read so that we can better understand the perspective from which this story comes. So this is such a cool way to introduce the folktale and the main characters to the readers. So I'm going to read this aloud for you. Prologue. Folklore, mythology, a people's legends, traditional stories as in Africa. Mythology transforms, making the ordinary into the magical. It brings beauty to the ways of man, giving him dignity and expressing his joy in life. Folklore prepares man for adult life. It places him within his culture. With oral traditions retold through generations, the social group maintains its continuity, handing down its culture. This story is from a long-established culture, the Ashanti of West Africa, in the country of Ghana. Ghana is a green stronghold of dense rainforest between the ocean and the desert. This home of the Ashanti people protects their oral traditions. The Ashanti have had a federation, a highly organized society for over 400 years. Still, today as long ago, the Ashanti are superb artisans. They excel as makers of fine metalwork and as weavers of beautiful silk fabric. Into this fabric, they weave the rich symbols of their art and folklore: sun, moon, creation, universe, the web of the cosmos, and Anansi the spider. Anansi is a folk hero to the Ashanti. This funny fellow is a rogue, a wise and lovable trickster. He is a shrewd and cunning figure who triumphs over larger foes. An animal with human qualities, Anansi is a mischief maker. He tumbles into many troubles. Here is one of his adventures. So one of the elements of folklore is different types of language that we're going to see and think about as we read this folk tale. We're going to think about literary language. Say literary language. Literary language establishes the historic nature of the tale. Phrases like long, long ago, or one I'm sure that you recognize, once upon a time, are examples of literary language. And they're used to show the readers that these stories have been passed down over generations. Another element that folktales contain is the use of cultural language. Say cultural language. Cultural language is language used within a culture, so you'll remember that's a group of people who share common habits, attitudes, beliefs, and expectations. And the phrases of cultural language includes names and other words that are specific to the culture. One example of this type of language is the name of our character, Anansi, which is specific to the Ashanti people of Ghana. This type of language can help us remember the important parts of the story that we're reading so that we can retell the story or share it with someone else. We will encounter both of these types of language as we read Anansi the Spider today. Now, in your ELA packet, you will find page 9, which is a graphic organizer that's going to help us keep track of the language that we're learning as we read Anansi the Spider. And we're going to take note, which means write down, the different forms of language. They're going to be either literary language or cultural language. And we're going to pull out examples from the text and keep in mind why it's important to remember those words. How do they help you better understand and remember the folktale that we're going to read? Anansi. He is Spider to the Ashanti people. In Ashanti land, people love this story of Kwaku Anansi. Time was, Anansi had 6 sons. Okay, so right on the very first page, I'm already pulling out some literary language and some cultural language. So on my graphic organizer, we already have a pre-printed example of cultural language, and the example is Kwaku Anansi. And it's important to remember this term because this is the word that the Ashanti people use for spider. The Ashanti people love to hear tales of Kwaku Anansi, a folk hero. Now, another example that I'm pulling from the very first page is the last line. It says, time was. Anansi had 6 sons. So an example from the text. And this is an example of literary language. It's not specific to the Ashanti people, but it does help me know that and remember that this folktale is passed on from generation to generation. So it's telling me that this happened a long time ago. Time was. Mr. Kevin.
So time was is sort of like once upon a time.
You might, yes, and a strong reader would make that connection like you just did. We would think about learning about this folktale from our own perspective, and that helps us better remember and understand when we can connect it to something that we already know and understand. So why it's important to remember is it helps us remember this folktale has been passed on for generations. Now, as we read, pay close attention to the language that we are hearing and be thinking, is this cultural language? Is this specific to the Ashanti people of Ghana? Or is this literary language? Is this going to help me better remember that this is a folk tale having to do with time? First son was called See Trouble. He had the gift, seeing trouble a long way off. Second son was Road Builder. Thirsty son was River Drinker. Next son was Game Skinner. Another son was Stone Thrower. And last of sons was Cushion. He was very soft. All were good sons of Anansi. Okay, so we have, at the beginning of our folktale, we're being introduced to all of our characters. We have Anansi the spider, who we learned is cultural language specific to the Ashanti people of Ghana. And now we're learning all about his 6 sons. And their names are See Trouble, Road Builder, River Drinker, Game Skinner, Stone Thrower, and Cushion. Now these names are all examples of cultural language. The names of these spiders are specific to the Ashanti people of Ghana. So I'm going to add these examples to my graphic organizer. And at this time, I would like you to go ahead and get your graphic organizer out and start paying close attention to the language that we're hearing in this text. So this is cultural language, and the names are See Trouble, Road Builder, River Drinker, and I have to tell you, when I was reading this text for the first time, this was really interesting to me, that it starts with, first son was called See Trouble, second son was Road Builder, and I expected it to say third son, because I was just thinking about the ordinal and first, second, third, but it actually says thirsty son was River Drinker, and that really just caught my attention. Game Skinner, Stone Thrower, and Cushion. Now, why is it important to remember and to think of these examples from the text as forms of cultural language? Well, because in this text and in this folktale, these characters are named after what they have a gift or an ability to do. So they give the example of See Trouble. He had the gift of seeing trouble a long way off. What do you think Road Builder's gift is? What do you think River Drinker's gift is? Game Skinner, Stone Thrower, and Cushion, we know, is very soft. Here we go. Keep reading, paying close attention to the literary language or the cultural language that we come across. One time, Anansi went a long way from home. Far from home, he got lost and fell into trouble. Now, I notice how in this story, like all fiction tales, they have the same story elements that we've been talking about. They have characters, they have setting, they're also going to have a plot, which includes the beginning, middle, and end. And we've already been introduced to the characters. Do you remember the setting? Where is our story taking place? In Ghana. And now we have the problem. Anansi went a long way from home, far from home. He got lost and fell into trouble. Oh no. It's being eaten by a fish. That is a problem. Back home was son Sea Trouble. Father is in danger, he cried. He knew it quickly, and he told those other sons. Road Builder's son said, "Follow me." Oh. Now, I'm going to tell you, we're almost at the end of the story, so we're probably going to see pretty quickly how our characters are able to solve the problem. And let's remind ourselves that we noticed the examples from the text, some cultural language was the name of our characters. And Anansi is far from home where his sons are, but Sea Trouble is able to know that Anansi is in trouble because of his gift. That's why it was important for us to notice their names and notice that they're connected to their gifts or abilities. Now, let's continue reading to see how Anansi gets out of trouble. Off he went, making a road. They went fast, those 6 brothers, gone to help Anansi. Where is father now? Where is he? He's in the fish. Fish has swallowed him. Anansi is inside fish. River Drinker took a big drink. No more river. Then Game Skinner helped Father Anansi. He split open the fish. Now, let's talk about the name Game Skinner. The word game. They're not talking about a game like Yahtzee or Monopoly. Game can be used, the term game can be used for animals that we would hunt. And Skinner means to remove the skin. So when hunters go hunting, they get their game, the animal, and they have to remove the skin to get to the meat. So Game Skinner, in this case, the game is the fish, and Game Skinner is removing the skin so we can get to Anansi. More trouble came right then. Okay. How do you think our characters are going to solve this problem? Take some think time. Tell your learning buddy. Okay, Rafa, now I'm going to remind myself of our characters' names. Sea Trouble, Road Builder, River Drinker, Game Skinner, Stone Thrower, Cushion. There's a bird, I wonder if the character named Stone Thrower is going to throw a stone. Let's find out. It was Falcon took Anansi up in the sky. Quick now, Stone Thrower. The stone hit Falcon. Anansi fell through the sky. Now, Cushion ran to help Father. Very soft, Anansi came down. They were very happy, that spider family. All home again that night, Kwaku Anansi found a thing in the forest. What is this? A great globe of light? Oh, mysterious and beautiful. I shall give this to my son, said Anansi, to the son who rescued me. But which son of 6? Which deserves the prize? Nyame, can you help me? Oh, Nyame, called Anansi. For Ashanti people, Nyame is the god of all things. Are you noticing some cultural language? Yeah, the name of the god of all things, Nyame. We need to add that to our chart. Definitely cultural language specific to the Ashanti people of Ghana. Why is it important to remember the name Nyame, the god of all things? I wonder if Nyame is going to help Anansi figure out which son deserves the prize. Let's find out. Anansi asked this of Nyame, please hold the beautiful globe of light until I know which son should have it for his own. And so they tried to decide which son deserved the prize. They tried, but they could not decide. They argued all night. Nyame saw this. The god of all things, he took the beautiful white light up into the sky. He keeps it there for all to see. It is still there. It will always be there. It is there tonight. What is it? It's the moon.
The moon.
The moon, yeah. So this folktale is a story about a particular belief held by a group of people. And remember, we talked about how culture is the group of people who share common habits, attitudes, beliefs, or expectations. And this story seems to be discussing how and why the moon shines so brightly in the sky each night. What an amazing way to think about this phenomenon of the moon being in the sky and why it's there. I really can't wait to share this story with my family. And like the Ashanti people, if you are going to retell this story, which is going to be your assignment, I want you to think about which parts of the story would be really important to keep. Which parts of the story do you need to be sure that you remember to tell when you retell the story? So I'm going to give you a moment to think back about the story and the story elements. You're going to pay close attention to the character, setting, beginning, middle, end. Take some think time. Today we learned that folk tales are stories that come from all over the world and have been passed down through storytellers from various cultures. And they include literary language and they include cultural language. And today I want you to use the language to remember in Folktales Graphic Organizer to help you pay close attention to the language in your independent reading folktales. And you're going to think about retelling the story, and you are actually going to write that. You're going to write your version of Anansi the Spider, remembering to include the character, the setting, the beginning, middle, end. I'm going to give you a hint. Creating a timeline might help you. If you think back to our biography writing, we used a timeline to help us keep track and keep everything in chronological or time order so that it makes sense. Also, add to your reading log so that your teacher knows that you are in fact reading to yourself every day. Now, I would love for you to send us here at TV Classroom your retell of Anansi the Spider, your version. And Mr. Kevin is going to tell you how you can send that to us here.
Yes, I wonder what kind of spin our third graders will put on Anansi the Spider and his 6 sons.
Yes.
Yes. So you can send them to TV Classroom at tacoma.k12.wa.us, or you can put it in the mail and stick a stamp on it, send it to the TV Classroom here at 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin. Now, third graders, this is a time for our affirmation. This is when we get to say positive things about ourselves, build ourselves up before we go off to complete our independent work. And I was just doing some reflecting about our special guests that we had, Peace Queen, Miss Melanie Denise Cunningham, and I just want to remind everyone that we can see the light in others. We can see how others shine, and we can make that choice every day to see how others shine. So practice saying that out loud with me. I can see how others shine. Excellent job today, third graders. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you back here next time in our TV Classroom. Bye.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.